Let's stay with the ANC matters now. The party in the Free State has new leadership. Mxolisi Dukwana was elected chairperson, beating Premier Sisi Ntombela. And remember, last night we brought you that address by President Cyril Ramaphosa calling for unity and saying that the province needs to make sure that they also deliver services, and they need to make sure that people at local level begin to trust the organization again, and saying that some of the branches that have been seen as being in disarray need to come together, and those who are not happy about the outcome also need to then accept it and rally behind this leadership that has been elected. And one of those who's also been elected has been Polediso Motsoeneng, who is now the Provincial Secretary and joins us live now. Polediso, thank you so much for your time this evening. Let's start very briefly with what is your one priority that you take up as you begin now serving the province as the Provincial Secretary?
One of the most principal tasks that I think we have to carry as the organization is to ensure that we live up to the renewal project that has been crafted flowing from the 55th National Conference of the ANC, unite the people of this province under the stewardship of the ANC, and also to ensure that we deal with the difficult challenges that we have been experiencing, which had a telling impact, negatively so, to the prestige and integrity of the ANC. Those are the main issues that we think we have to grapple with as the newly elected leadership of the province.
Looking at what happened on Friday and what has been happening with, really some deep divisions in the province, tensions also escalating on Friday, as well as even when we saw the outcome being announced, some seemingly unhappy about the outcome. How easy will it be to focus and unite everyone?
Our responsibility as this new leadership is to appreciate the responsibility we have in resolving the brewing tensions that exist between and amongst the ANC members in the province. And part of the capacity of the ANC that has carried us for over a period of time is the ability to persuade one another and ensure that conflict is resolved through persuasion, and ultimately come together to have an understanding of the strategic objective that we have to share as the ANC members, so that when we are united, we can be able to provide solutions to the problems that our people are facing in the country.
And if you may, please look into the camera, if I may ask you to do so, Mr. Motsoeneng. But let's continue then with this one. Would you say, because you're saying that you then have the ability to persuade one another as members, would you say, though, everyone has been persuaded by what the president said last night to rally behind the new leadership? Would you say everybody has accepted the outcome and there's no court action?
We have not had a sense of anybody initiating any legal process against the newly elected leadership. And our understanding is that where there are grievances, comrades would approach the leadership, and the leadership would not be ignorant to the fact that there are those who might have issues. And as I've indicated, that ability to persuade one another, the platform will be created for them to raise their issues, discuss, and ultimately, in terms of the teachings of the ANC, we will get a solution around issues that might not have sit well with others.
Have you spoken about the issue of, what some see as the two centers of power? You have a different ANC chairperson as well as a different, premier. Could we see a shake-up in the provincial government? Have you spoken about that as the new leadership?
As the leadership, we have not even met to discuss even the program of action that will be executed by this leadership. And given that, we would not be able to assume that there are issues that will be ventilated by the newly elected leadership as far as that is concerned. So my precise response to you is saying we have not met and discussed any of such issues. It will be a decision that will be taken by the collective which has been elected at that conference.
How confident are you that the Free State people will trust you come 2024, given the collapse in some parts of service delivery in some municipalities where the ANC is in charge?
There's an intention on our part to do what we normally use, back to basics. Because in 1994, the integrity of the ANC was never contested by anybody. And as a result of that, on the basis of the conduct of its leadership and cadreship and members alike, we were appealing to the masses to an extent that they believe and hope that the ANC is the only vehicle to respond to their issues. Has been pleaded, and we'll be going back to that in terms of our ethical conduct and the value system that has carried the ANC for over many decades.
How do they begin? How do they begin? Pardon me for coming in there, but how do they begin to trust you as the only vehicle when even the president himself is saying that you cannot have sewage, spilling outside of people's houses, some inside their houses? There's potholes everywhere, service delivery grinding to a halt. So, what vehicle is this that you're talking about that they must trust that you can deliver?
Part of what we're going to do is to normalize accountability. Our public representatives will be called upon to account on the mandate that they've been assigned to execute on behalf of the ANC. And for that, there won't be anybody who would be left alone without being held accountable, and consequences will be the order of the day. So we are saying the social tension that is brewing, we are well aware of such, and as a result, we will put some mitigating factors in terms of the accountability and the conduct of our own public representatives.
And how long before we see action on those accountability actions that you're talking about? What's the time frame there?
There's going to be what I call the political roller coaster in the province. We have no time to waste time. The time is now. We will be decisive in line with what we have ultimately resolved from NASREC, so that whatever that we do, our people will not just listen to rhetoric, but they will see action that will be executed by the ANC, as I've indicated.
All right.
Consequence might be the order of the day, and we are going to normalize accountability.
All right, let's see then if that indeed becomes the reality there, because if you're still having some, for example, Mangaung then having two conferences, and then at the same time you're seeing what's happening in government. So politics and governance, there are now some lines that are being blurred there, and you're saying that there's going to be a roller coaster. We wait then to see this roller coaster, Mr. Motsoeneng, and we'll then continue to hold you accountable, as of course, as you say, that you'll then be giving us an update. It won't be too long. So let's see then what happens. Thank you so much for your time. That's Polediso Motsoeneng, Free State Provincial Secretary.